Hello everyone, it's me Spear. Welcome to the Matchday 5 best picks in each position for Euro 2024 UEFA Fantasy game. I've got updated stats by position in each slot, so I'm talking expected goals per 90, expected assists per 90, updated recoveries, they're all in there. I'm at about 150k after a bit of a drop-off week. You guys don't care about that. You guys care about the stats and the picks. Let's get into those straight away. In goal, we have two sort of sets to pick from here. So what you're looking at is the Pickford, Verbruggen, and Sommer play on the same day. So you're only picking one player from those. So pick your favorite. And then you're only picking one from the others as well. So for Mike Maignan, Diogo Costa, and Unai Simon. Again, only picking one from them because you can't have two on the same day. Well, you can, but you'd be shooting yourself in the foot. It would be silly. I would advise going with one of Pickford or Verbruggen and one of Mike Maignan or Diogo Costa. In my opinion, I think one of those two each is probably the best ones to go with. I might sway towards Pickford and Maignan personally, but that's what I'm thinking. They're all very viable here. I do think you definitely need one of Pickford or Verbruggen in my opinion, unless you're a big gambler and want a differential like Jan Sommer there, but I wouldn't personally. As you can see, Pickford's really good saves per 90, really good expected goals conceded per 90, and the same with Mike Maignan as well. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Just pick your favorites. You don't have to follow the crowd, but pick one from each day. Okay. On to more exciting stuff, the defenders. This list took a while to compile. This is the only section of the outfield players where I haven't separated the XGI stats, so they're all in one. If you're ever a little curious about what's the split like with defenders, Spear, what I would say here is if they're a centre back, it's probably coming from goal threat, and if they're a full back, it's usually coming from assist threat. But as you can see, there's nothing crazy on XGI stats. That's why I don't really break them up on here. And there's other things to consider for defenders like recoveries and expected goals conceded per 90 are more important. Topping the list is the Netherlands assets. They play Turkey. It's easily the best fixture of the tournament remaining, unless Turkey get through, of course, in which case it'll still be the best fixture. Yeah, Nathan Ake has a combination of everything, really. Decent price, decent XGI, okay recoveries. De Vrij, he has really good recoveries per 90, and he has a really good price at 5 million. Not the best expected goal involvement, though. And again, Van Dijk, a bit of a combination of all those things, but more expensive. So I've kind of ordered them in sort of my vague favourites there. If you pushed for cash, it's De Vrij. If money is no issue, it's Van Dijk. If it's an all-rounder, it's Ake, right? But you could go with all three, and that would be very, very viable. Next up on the list is the England defence. One thing I forgot to mention about the Dutch defence for both Verbruggen and the three defenders here is you can see the expected goals conceded isn't the best. It's actually even worse than Switzerland's. Not as bad as Turkey's, of course, but they won't make the list in terms of defensive assets. But it's not the best defense ever. So Turkey could nick a goal against the Netherlands, but with Koeman's style of play, I do see potential for a clean sheet. Next up is the England defense. If you're looking for expected goal involvement, Trippier is one of the best in the England side, but that's not saying much because it's a side managed by Gareth Southgate, and we may do a full video on what has gone wrong with the England side under Gareth Southgate. But that's for a separate time. Look out for that. Kieran Trippier does have the expected goal involvement. My worry here is that Luke Shaw miraculously is fit. Based upon Southgate's comments, I don't foresee that happening, but maybe something will change between now and the deadline. If it is, of course, check the comments. We always have a good time in the comments here. I'll probably pin some sort of update in the comments. If you're watching this, 2 or 3 days down the line, you'll probably see me post a little update there as well, or on my Twitter. But Kieran Trippier, if we think he's starting, great expected goal involvement. Price is a little bit of an issue, and as I said, there's a risk of rotation there, and we won't see the lineup for this one because it's on the second match day. John Stones, if you're looking for someone cheap and that's going to play every minute under Southgate, and you need an England defender. It is John Stones. So he's very, very safe, but very poor in terms of expected goal involvement, as is Kyle Walker. Maybe a little better generally, although I know the stats look similar there. Kyle Walker is at more risk of rotation than Stones, but I don't see it happening. I'd personally play Trent at right back and Walker at left back, or Shaw at left back, or Gomez at left back, because for some reason he's not taking a left back to the tournament that's fit. So that's what they're stuck with. But that's what I'm saying. That's what could happen. I'm trying to keep it more fantasy related right now. That's what could happen. So I'm saying there is a slight risk there, but not much. If you're worried about that, go with Stones. Walker's the next best for minutes, then Trippier. But Trippier's significantly better than almost all England assets, bar maybe Harry Kane or all the substitutes he doesn't use for XGI right now, which is crazy. But not saying much. I'm waffling because we're talking about England. On to France. France have a really good expected goals conceded per 90, and both the defenders have really good expected goal involvement per 90. Koundé especially has had a Star Man award, and he's got great recoveries per 90. So both of these assets really good. There's really nothing too much wrong with it except the fixture, and the fixture sucks. Portugal is not a good fixture, and they could easily dump out France and vice versa. So that's why you're seeing Hernandez, Koundé, and then Cancelo in this list here. I do think France have a better defence, and I do fancy them over Portugal. And their assets are cheaper with better minutes, better recoveries, better expected goal involvement. So I would go there. But you could also gamble on Portugal defence if you really wanted to, but would you want to against this French side? Doesn't look the most free-flowing, the French side, but they could beat anyone. But João Cancelo, again, more as a reference point, because I know a lot of you own him. 0.07 XGI per 90, not great. Recoveries are decent. Minutes are fine. Other options in the Portuguese defence, if you want to go heavy there. Ruben Dias at 6, not the best recoveries this tournament. Pepe is actually the one getting all the recoveries at centre-half. But Portugal, the Cookie Monster, is averaging, I think it's... Oh, what is it now? I think it's 7.5 per game or something crazy for Pepe. And then Mendes at left back is decent for recoveries and has some attacking threat too. But all the Portuguese defence, bar Diogo Costa, could have rotation on the cards. But if it's first choice, it's going to be Costa, Cancelo, Pepe, Dias, and then Mendes. Okay, so that's what the first choice is. But any of the defenders there could get rotated, and I don't like the fixture. So that's why I'm not really bothering with them. Next up on the list is the two Spaniards. One with the crazy hair and one with the short hair. Marc Cucurella and Dani Carvajal. Again, much like the French assets, great recoveries, great expected goal involvement. Germany's not a good fixture, though. The Spanish side, I'm more impressed by their attack than their defence. The defence looks like it could still get got at. And if there's anyone to do that, it'd be the German home side. So they are there. Again, if you want to bet on the Spanish defence, they're there. I'm probably not going to. If I didn't use my limit list, then I would have double on those. But I just don't fancy the Spanish defence against the German attack necessarily. Last on the list, again, is more of a reference point, and for those of you maybe chasing on wanting to bet against England, and that is two Swiss defenders in Manuel Akanji and the man who seems to play in every single international tournament since the beginning of time, Ricardo the Ponytail Rodriguez, with his grey hair. Rodriguez does have a better XGI, and historically used to have pretty for certain club sides and things. He used to take some set pieces, though he doesn't as much anymore for Switzerland. But he does offer more going forward than Akanji, but much less recoveries than Akanji. They both do well on that front. He is cheaper than Akanji, but Akanji's maybe more viable for a Starman award. Both are very viable if you fancy Switzerland against England, if you're looking at that. Another option is Fabian Schär. The Newcastle centre-half has more threat than these two fellas, but his recoveries per game is pretty poor. It's at 3 per game. You'll notice Turkey are missing. Of course they are. They're the weakest side left in the tournament against a good Netherlands side. And the defence was already bad in qualifying and throughout the tournament for Turkey. In the dying moments of the Austria game, I think they conceded a 0.94 expected goal header just in that one moment. So I don't really want to. I haven't even considered any Turkish defenders, to be honest with you. Others that didn't make the list: the German defense. Joshua Kimmich isn't classed as a defender. Manuel Neuer is 6 million and plays Spain, arguably the best attack in the tournament. Which leaves the other three. Mittelstadt and Raum have now been rotated, which sucks if you're a Mittelstadt owner, especially after the clean sheet. So you can't go there. You can't go left back. You can't go right back. Keeper's too expensive. Schlotterbeck came in and played it incredibly for Jonathan Tah. So again, do you want to risk rotation there, which only really leaves Antonio Rudiger, who's 5.5. Yeah. So I mean, I just don't fancy them against the Spanish attack, but they do have a 0.5 expected goals conceded per 90. And if you want a safe pick there, it's Antonio Rudiger. If you want an outside pick there, then it's Tah. But I mean, Schlotterbeck could now play after his performance. Hopefully that helps you out with the defenders. If I just picked any here, I would just go with Netherlands and England, as I'm sure it's obvious. But France are very viable too. On to the midfielders, and this is where you really can just pick who you fancy to do well. Go with your gut. I'm just here to give you great. I was gonna say great. Imagine saying that. Imagine saying giving you great stats. Giving you the stats. Giving you the stats that'll help you make an informed decision. I have began here, as you can see, to break up the stats for you. So now you're seeing expected goals per 90 for the tournament and expected assists per 90 for the tournament. With defenders, I combined them because there wasn't too much in it and it was kind of pointless. And it's more interesting to see recoveries and goals conceded per 90 and expected goals conceded per 90 for defenders. So I've removed recoveries from these and split these up for the midfielders. You also see minutes per game, which is important for midfielders and attacks. For attackers especially, because for defenders, you just need 60 in a clean sheet, and then the fans get subbed off, that's okay. For attackers, you want them playing as long as possible. So that's why you're seeing two at the top of the list, Bruno Fernandes and Jude Bellingham. Fernandes just club, country, qualifies Euros, some of the best stats, still some of the best stats. I know they haven't always come through as points this game, but they're just very good stats. France is the issue. It's an awful fixture. It really, really is an awful fixture. Yeah, that's what you're dealing with basically. You want to pick the best midfield asset in this current fantasy game in this format against, on paper, the strongest defense. So that's up to you. Jude Bellingham. England have looked horrific. Going forward, they looked a little loose defensively, despite their stats saying otherwise. Jude Bellingham, 2 moments of magic, surrounded by very mediocre performance at best from him, and some very arrogant statements in the press. Seems like the English side think they're immune from criticism after 4 horror shows for performances. The amount they get paid and the level they play at and the output they created and the lack of, just the lack of any sort of structure or anything. Maybe we'll do a full video on England under Southgate, but I digress. That kind of shows my feelings on the England attack. So he is here because of the fixture and because Jude Bellingham is capable of those magic moments, right? So England and Bellingham himself can collectively play very poorly, but get a goal or two. And he is playing in that sort of more advanced midfield role for England. But you could easily gamble against him. But I really like the fixture, and I like his ability to score goals, basically, out of nothing. Xavi Simons coming next. A much more exciting pick than Bellingham. Better stats. The issue here is minutes. It's always been minutes is the issue. This tournament, anyway. At the start of the tournament, I was a bit lukewarm on Simons because of his output. But his output and his performances have been good, and he's got the best fixture now. So I do think for me personally, he's the prime midfield pick right now, based upon considerations of everything. So value, stats, fixture, etc. The only issue is minutes. So don't Feel free to comment and complain on the next video after this if Simmons gets rotated, but I just can't see it happening because he's doing well. And next up is a Spanish duo who I think Williams made it on a video before, but Ruiz hasn't because of his historical numbers before the tournament. But this tournament, both of them, look at those stats there. 0.33. It's just 0.33, 0.29, 0.3, 0.36 on XG and XA. Both of them per 90. These are good stats for this tournament. And the minutes for Ruiz are really good. And for Williams, they're getting better. Cost is really good. It's just the fixture and a slight worry for minutes for Williams. So as you can see, I'm quite supportive and forward with my recommendations for Fabian Ruiz for this week. But is he going to keep scoring from, you know, historically not doing that much? I don't know. But the fixture isn't great, but I do like the Spanish attacking side. Spain as an attacking side. So that's why they're quite high up this week. After these first five here, you're seeing now we're getting to Vargas for Switzerland. You're also seeing an underline. Underline this video just means they take penalties for their country. And from Williams to Vargas, for me, this is where there's a bit of a drop-off. England's defence, as I said, statistically, very good. And Switzerland, probably the second worst team left in the tournament on paper. I know England have looked terrible. You could argue that England have looked worse than Turkey. But Vargas, again, if you fancy Switzerland to beat England and you're gambling against England, like going with no defenders from England, Vargas is your man. And if I was going with no English defenders, I would have Vargas in my side. He's worth it. If you've seen the games involving Switzerland, he looks so energized and up for the game. He's involved in everything. His minutes are good. Should be on penalties as long as Xherdan Shaqiri isn't playing, which he's only played 1 match out of 4 so far. So yeah, if you're betting against England, Vargas is your man. And then we have Jamal Musiala and Ilkay Gundogan. Again, the stats for the German midfielders really aren't very good, as you can see. They're still better than Bellingham's and the other England assets like Foden and Saka, but the fixture sucks, combined with the stats not being great. Musiala's minutes, again, not the best. His minutes and his underlies haven't been good, despite him being one of the top scorers in the tournament, both in real output and fantasy output. The fixture with those minutes and the price, I just kind of worry about it. If you have those players and you're not on Limitless or Wildcard, you're fine to keep them. But I'd probably gamble elsewhere. They're more as a reference point, really. I could see why someone would gamble on a Musiala transfer in, though, if they fancied it. Last one here is the only Turkish asset in my recommendations, I think outside of Çalhanoğlu since the start of the tournament, is Gula of Real Madrid in Turkey. Good stats, actually. Good stats. Some of the best expected assist stats of the tournament so far. And one of his teammates is banned, and I've forgotten his name. Or I've forgotten which player it is anyway. But since he's banned, Gula's minutes should be a little bit better. And the fixture isn't the worst. As I said, Netherlands, statistically, the second worst defence left in the tournament. So it's not a bad fixture. Again, much like with Vargas, if you're betting against the Netherlands defence or you don't have any Netherlands defenders, Gula is absolutely fine to go with. But if I had Netherlands defender, I wouldn't bother with that. But he is there. Okay, on to strikers, and I really like the stats from the strikers on this one, because some of them they're a little unexpected, like Hackpers, for example, where you're seeing a lot of his XGI is actually from expected assists, even though he's scored a number of goals this tournament, and he has done really, really well. Yeah. There's only 3 green picks, which are my sort of stalwart picks in my video, which I think everyone should have. And one of them is Hackpo. The other 2 are one of the 2 keepers in Verbruggen or Pickford. Pick one of them and then get one from another day. Yeah, he's just too good a pick. Too in form. Best fixture. Very cheap. We don't need to speak much about Hackpo. There he is down there. Just pick him and just consider whether you're captaining him or not, basically, in my opinion. After that, you're picking 2 that you fancy. You watching this video fancy, okay? So you just have an itch about Yamal and Depay. Go with those 2 players, right? You think that Kane and Mbappe are going to shine for their countries, their star men. Go with those 2 picks. one thing to consider is whether you double up on the Netherlands attack. And Memphis Depay has been very threatening. He's looked more like Manchester United Depay than Leon Depay, though. So I would put a little bit of caution on that. But, I mean, if you're going to pick Depay at any point in this tournament, it is now against Turkey with good stats. My only worry is he'll continue to misfire. That's the only worry, really. And also, if you do go with him, you're obviously not going to sacrifice Hakpo, are you? So you're going to have to sacrifice one of Kane, Mbappe, or Ronaldo to move in Memphis Depay. So, you know, you're sacrificing Kane on penalties for England, Mbappe on penalties for France, or Ronaldo on penalties for Portugal. I'm not sure. But if you can figure out which one it is you're sacrificing and which one you want to gamble on, it's fine. Do I need to say more about Kane, Mbappe, and Ronaldo? Kane has the best fixture, but the worst manager and the worst side in terms of their attacking prowess. Mbappe probably the best individual player in terms of explosiveness, but in quite a defensive Portugal side against a strong, quite a defensive France side against a strong Portuguese side. The reverse for Ronaldo, so, you know, in a strong Portugal side who misfired a little bit in the last round against a very strong French defense. So very difficult to pick between those three. But again, I'm just giving you the stats to go by here. Kane's stats still haven't been terrible considering how bad England have been. And then last on the list is Kai Havertz and Lamine Yamal, or Yamin Lamal as I called him last video. But Kai Havertz, the issue is minutes here. I think if his minutes was 90 per game, once again, we'd probably have him in. Also, the fixture's not the best, but Spain's defence can be got at. He's absolutely fine to keep, and he's on penalties. But I do favour the 5 above him. Yamal is, again, he's an awesome pick, but who would you sacrifice there, really, for him? He actually has, surprisingly, the best non-penalty XGI stats of the strikers. And he's really cheap, and he's exciting, he's great to watch. But again, the minutes is a worry. As you can see, 67 average per game isn't the best. All the stats you've seen today as well are non-penalty expected goals or expected goals involvement, just to give you that bit of extra information. As you can see, a lot of penalty takers on this list too. It's tough to pick. I would go with Hakpo and then 2 of your favourites on this list. Up next is my fixture predictions. For those of you who made it this far, hello, leave a comment. I actually recorded this for about 35 minutes up to this point last time, and I realized that I still had Austria in my video design for this. So I had to go back and re-record, and I also, the ranks updated as well. So I updated the rank, updated this from Austria to Turkey. I forgot it. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. Germany, Spain. I think Spain will have too much attacking prowess for the German defence. Germany could very easily go through with home advantage, but I do think Spain look better than Germany. And Germany could have very easily lost to Denmark if refereeing decisions could have gone marginally the other way. Portugal versus France, very tough, probably the tightest to call, I would say. I think France's defence is just a little bit better, and they have a bit more steel and experience to them. Portugal misfired and looked a little wobbly in the last round, and also in the game before that against Georgia. I know it was a reserve side, but still. So I do think France could go through there, but again, very easily Portugal could too. England, Switzerland. England should go through, right? Let's face it. On paper, they should go through, but they've got Gareth Southgate anchoring them, anchoring them down, anchoring their ceiling. I really want to do an England video on what's gone wrong in the Southgate, but again, maybe for another time. I think they'll have too much for Switzerland. And then Netherlands versus Turkey, probably the easiest one to predict. I just don't see anything but a Netherlands win. I'd be shocked if Turkey won. That leaves Spain versus France. I think Spain just look really good. But again, very 50-50. I'll go with Spain. England versus Netherlands. I think Netherlands just look better than England. If they keep playing the way they're playing both sides, Netherlands will beat England. If they play to their potential, then England will beat Netherlands, which would leave Spain versus Netherlands in the final, and I think Spain would win. These are my loose predictions, as I said. I also kind of put my chip thoughts in here. I get a lot of comments about best time to use chips, etc. And please keep leaving comments and questions because it really helps the videos. And I really enjoy building our little like YouTube community comment section, which is great. So yeah, keep leaving those comments and questions. But a very common one I get is, when should I be using my chip or chips that are left? If you have both of them, what I would do is go unlimited this week, wildcard next week. If you have only the wildcard, use it on whichever you need, right? If you've got loads of players out this week, use it this week. If you've got lots of good players playing this week, just wait till next week. Unlimited is this week or next week. I'm probably using mine this week, though I could field a full playing 15 with just the free transfers we get. I'll still probably use it this week. The rationale for that is, this week we only get free transfers. We get progressively more transfers each week. So in terms of that, you're maximizing things. And also there's certain players like Mark Gay, for example, where I'd want them back next week, so I wouldn't want to necessarily transfer them out to get them back in as well. So that's my rationale for using Unlimited this week. It's very, very viable in the semis too. So it's team dependent for that. If you have a good team going into this week, save your Unlimited for next week. If not, and you're in a similar position to me, then just smash it this week with the Unlimited. You shouldn't use either chip in the final. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, for the wildcard, you want to get 2 or 3 games worth of fixtures out of it. And secondly, for something like Limitless, it's unlimited funds, right? So why would you need unlimited funds for the final when there's only 11 playing players, right? For the other rounds, there's 15 playing players. The final, it's 1 day, only 11 players. And you only need 11 playing players. So it doesn't matter if 4 are eliminated. And we get more transfers then as well. But not in the final. One of the other 2 ones, okay? So hopefully that helps everyone, gives a bit more information. And now, as far as we've got in the video, versus my last recording, is the my final thoughts for the game week. Just to summarize a few rules as well, because again, a bit confusing for a few people. Remember to use your chips before the end of the game, obviously. So again, this week or next week for wildcard or unlimited. And we do get free transfers. So if you don't use a chip this week, you get free transfers, and then 1 more transfer each week. So 4 next week in the semis, 5 for the final. Right now, you can have 5 from each team. And again, maybe you do something like max out on Netherlands. That's what I'm looking to do. But yeah, 5 from each team. So utilize that where you can, if you wish to. Right now, I would say the fun part about this game is you can just back the teams you think are going to win the tournament or go deep into the tournament. Right? So it could be Spain and France or something like that. You go and back those teams. I've mentioned here the teams to target: Netherlands, both offensively and defensively, because of their fixture. Spain, especially their attack. Defenses to own: France and England are easily the best defenses, and they don't have the best attack, so they're relying on those. And England have a good fixture as well. Already talked about the chips, so we're not going to go into those. If you've got any other questions for me, or you just want to leave a comment, feedback, anything like that, feel free to. That's it from me. This is the outro now. I don't know why I mentioned that this is the outro now, but what I might do actually going forward is I might do an England under Southgate video. That'll be different to my normal fantasy videos, but I think it'd be enjoyable to create. And I think as an England supporter over his tenure, and someone who analyzes the game a lot and is involved around the game a lot, I think it'd be an interesting video for people to watch as well. So I might do that coming up, so make sure you turn your notifications on for more football videos, more fantasy football videos. I will be doing FPL videos for the new season as well, but I'm really enjoying the Euro videos so far and chatting to you guys in the comments. I live stream on Twitch, normally do we watch YouTube on there, gaming streams on there just every now and again. I'm on Twitter if you want more live updates. And if you want to buy me a little something, of course, there's always throne.com/speardrops. You guys have an awesome week. Good luck with all your points. I hope you score very well. I hope you have a very high rank. Remember to make sure you pick on the right days, right? So you have players playing on different days and keepers playing on different days. And yeah, should be a really good, fun rest of the tournament. Should be some great watches. The nice thing about, supporting someone like England is you can go heavy on their defense, and then it's kind of like a double whammy of they've got through based on the defense, or they get knocked out. So yeah, anyway, I'm waffling on. Good luck to you. I will see you for match day 6, the semi-finals coming up. If there's any injury news, I'll post it on my Twitter or I'll post it on the pinned comments below. Good luck to you and goodbye.